It's definitely my pleasure. I love sharing. I'm so grateful that you, Barry, invited me, and thank you guys for your flexibility on the schedule as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it looks like we've got a pretty big crowd so far. Everyone who's just logging in, we're going to wait till 12:05. We want to give everyone who wants a chance to join us today an opportunity, and we'll get started right at 12:05. Elliot forgot the music, so I'm gonna put it on you, Elliot, for not entertaining folks for 5 minutes, but that's okay. Um,
Well, you know, I'm always willing to tell jokes or something, but
like I
I
say,
didn't.
you could do some acapella stuff too now. That's not.
Hey, you know me, I'll do anything for a laugh, but I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of Chef. All my fellow coworkers, they know me, but Chef doesn't know me, so I didn't want to embarrass myself.
Oh, you can't embarrass me in front of me. Yeah, I love laughter and zany stuff. You're
Yeah, I'm that guy that's like, when it gets quiet, I'm like, really, guys, why are we so quiet? This makes zero sense. So, so yeah, but no music, sorry.
I just
And,
wanted to, I'm
oh,
Barry
hey,
Elliott, I'm in
Risha.
the meeting. Hey, just wanted to announce we are recording. Not that you're saying anything out of line, but just we're recording because if I don't remember to hit record, we could miss some important parts of this. And I'm excited too. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see what the meal is going to look like, and I'm going to go and try it at home. I've never heard of oyster mushroom, so I'm looking forward.
We have some good ones at our farmers market, Risha, in Hayward.
Ah, Saturday.
Yep, on Saturdays. You know, if I would, I we'll talk. We'll talk.
Okay.
Yep. And today is the end of Black History Month. It's been a fun and exciting month, not only on a personal level, but through work and all of our events. And it's going to be a magical ending to end with food. I mean, how fitting is that when you kind of think about it?
right.
Risha, did you make it to the parade yesterday?
I did not participate in the parade, but I was at the event and it was fabulous.
That's good.
Yes, the Black employee is 12:05, and our brief update, the Black Employee Network was well represented. We had on t-shirts,
Great.
designed by graphics. Thank you, graphics. They came through in like 5 days with
Wow.
the graphic for us. Yes. Um, and there were thousands of people there. The vibe was cool. Latrice King participated. Mona Favorite Hill participated. Robin Jones met her for the first time. She's been here 4 years. Chandra Thomas, Nicole Douglas, Dana Mims, and myself. We hosted the booth, had lots of participation. There are a lot of people who don't even know what East Bay Mud is. I was literally pulling people's, and they were like, oh, the water company. They just, they're not connected. So we recognize there are some ways for us to reach out to people
Right.
when we go out to these events. They were really interested in hiring once they saw our list of upcoming recruitments. So we
Mhm.
just blew up a flyer and people were taking pictures. They weren't interested in taking pieces of paper, they were
Right.
taking pictures.
Right.
So yeah, it was good, well received. We were right next to a person who is running for Oakland mayor. So that was
Oh,
interesting.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes. And Latrice was able to network with some groups who are helping um, low income or people who could also benefit from some of our customer assistance programs. So it was all good for East Bay Mud and for the Black Employee Network. We were out there.
Oh,
Um,
great.
Thanks.
Thanks for
Thanks,
sharing
Risha.
that
So
update.
yeah,
it's
I'm done.
12:06 now. I think we're going to get started here. Thank you for joining us today, everyone, and welcome to the finale of this year's Black History Month celebration. We're excited today to have Chef Tamearra Dyson, an Oakland native, and local proprietor. Chef Dyson opened her first restaurant in 2009, Souley vegan, and she's expanded not only to Oakland, but she has restaurants in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and San Francisco. A highlight is recently Chef Dyson was featured on the Food Network show Beat Bobby Flay. So I guess it's a competition where two local chefs square off, and then the winner gets to compete against Bobby Flay. And Chef Dyson was the first chef in the history of that show to actually beat Bobby Flay. So that's pretty exciting, and I'm sure consequently she's gotten a lot busier having received that national attention. So Chef Dyson is going to walk through the dish, and then afterward, she's going to answer any questions people have, and then around 12:55, we're going to do a raffle. We purchased some gift certificates for Souley Vegan that we're going to give out today to the folks that are participating. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Chef Dyson, and she can teach us something about eating healthy in a vegan way.
Yeah, thank you so much again, Barry, for having me. I've pre-prepared some things for you all so that I don't have to turn my back and then I kind of stay engaged with you. So really, really happy to be with you this morning, or this afternoon rather. So we're gonna do an oyster mushroom sandwich. Oyster mushrooms, I call it a cheat ingredient almost because they're so flavorful. They look like this. You can chop them. You can just slice this so that the base is, nicely kind of cut, and they have a lot of texture to them. So, between the texture and then also the natural flavor that they give, it's a great ingredient to use. We're doing it in a sandwich today, but you can put it in your, in your lentils. You can put it in your stew, because again, it just adds texture and a lot of flavor. Also on the side of the sandwich, normally we like, French fries or something like that, or the best of us do salads. But I have two ingredients here that I really love. One is parsnip, and the other one is, of course, a carrot. So we're gonna have that on the side of the sandwich, instead of a French fry. The parsnip is loaded with antioxidants. Also the carrot, obviously does have some protein in it, but it's also very high in fiber. So the oyster mushroom, I love it. It's also, actually, this is a great anti-inflammatory, also antioxidant. But again, a lot of the fresh ingredients, root vegetables that you'll find are rich in those kind of qualities. So like I said, I pre-prepared some things. So hopefully you guys can see this. Let me know, Barry, if this is not looking okay. But what I did was I went ahead and I prepared, the parsnip. I slice it probably about a quarter thick. It's going to be to your preference, but the thicker they are, the longer they're going to have to cook. I normally, start my oil on high just to get the oil nicely heated. But then you would probably want to reduce it to like a medium high. They'll cook really quickly on the outside. But one of the most important things is that you want to make sure that they're cooking on the inside. And again, it would be kind of to your preference in terms of texture. So some are a little bit thicker, and then some are like a quarter thick. I like that size because, again, it cooks kind of evenly, and the texture, there's still texture there, but not too much of a crunch. So we have that, and I'll get into the aioli that I made for the burger. So we do have ciabatta today. That's what we're putting our sandwich on. I love ciabatta. It's nice and soft. You want it fresh, obviously, and it's just kind of just a great bread. I've already kind of, toasted it. I'm a stickler for toasting your bread. That gives it a little bit more flavor and just adds to the experience. And when you toast it, I used, grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil is a great oil to use. It fries nicely without all of the kind of, fatty and cholesterol. And you have other oils that add those components, but say like an olive oil will burn faster than a grapeseed oil would. So then here I have the oyster mushrooms. And what I did was I chopped some onions, which is why I'm not adding onions to the sandwich. Chopped some onions, sauteed those with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of cayenne, because I love heat. But again, that would be to your taste. And then I added this particular cheese that I have is Daya vegan cheese. It melts really well. I typically make my own cheese, but for the sake of just kind of sharing with you all, quick reference would be, you can get a Daya. They're readily available at your local grocery store. And then also a Go Veggie is also a good brand that I'll use as well. But basically the oyster mushrooms, they cook fairly quickly. You don't want to cook them down too much to where they lose their texture. So these probably I sauteed these for maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Adding those to the onions that were already sauteed. And then what I did was I just sprinkled the shredded vegan cheese on top, let it stay on the flame for a little bit longer so that we can get that heat. And then I removed it and I just kind of kept the lid on there so that the cheese melts nicely. One tip I'd like to share, that when you're dealing with kind of a vegan cheese, if you want to just sprinkle something on top of your dish and have it melt, if you're putting it in the oven or if you're doing it on the stove, create a little kind of hole or space in between the product so that the heat can come through and kind of nicely generate itself throughout your dish, and then you'll find the cheese melts better that way. So that's just a little tip. So what we're gonna do today, I'm gonna build a sandwich. Again, we have the ciabatta. This is the bottom of it. I'm just gonna add some vegan mayo to it. Now the vegan mayo, you can use, Vegan-Ace is a really popular brand, one of the first brands out there. You can also use Just Mayo is also a good brand. Best Foods even has a vegan mayo now. So I'm not sure when they came out with that, but I think it's been at least a few years, maybe 2-3 years. And so now a lot of the brands that you kind of are familiar with are creating a vegan version of their very best product. So that's kind of cool. So here I have mayo. And again, it's your preference, how much or, how little you like. Totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and add my pickles. Now, those of you that seen the episode of Bobby Flay, I made my own pickles, by the way. So anyway, so I just have dill pickles. I love pickles. So we have that. Kind of spread those throughout. And again, it's your flavor. This is kind of how I like my sandwich. I love pickles. Also, we're going to do some cucumbers, and we're just kind of, going to kind of build this thing. Have about 4 cucumbers on there. Hopefully you guys see that. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my oyster mushroom concoction to the top of this. And I'm going to show you kind of how it should look. Let's see here. When you're transitioning to, to kind of, an omnivore, I guess, to vegan, or just, kind of experimenting. Some people want to go completely vegan. Some people just kind of want to give their bodies a break. When you're doing that, I realized that, now I've been a vegan a long time, so I don't necessarily require this, but I find that a lot of people want something that at least kind of simulates what they're used to, because they want something familiar. So I said that to say that the Daya cheese is very stretchy, something that you would get, in your average, I guess cheddar cheese. It's probably even more stretchy than that. And I'm just going to show you this. It's, it's a great transitional kind of cheese, again, if you're exploring kind of the vegan lifestyle. So I'm just going to show you this. Ooh, it's messy and gooey and it's everything. So this is kind of like a hungry man sandwich. You're going to really, really enjoy it. It's a lot. You could split it in half, have a little bit later. You don't have to put so much, mushrooms or cheese or whatever on it. It's to your taste. But I'm doing it kind of showing you that this vegan dish can be very flavorful and very hearty. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that on the plate, and I'm going to show you guys kind of what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my tomato. Nothing like, fresh tomato on your dish. Nothing like a fresh tomato on your dish. So I love tomatoes. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add the green leaf lettuce. And then I'm going to top it off with, you know, with the top of the ciabatta. So if you can kind of see that, I'm kind of trying to focus on this little camera that I have on the side, but I guess I probably don't have to do that. I'm assuming that you guys kind of get a good look.
It looks great.
Okay, good, good. So this sandwich is absolutely delicious. Now, what I did was, and again, this is kind of adhering to kind of our normal, you know, traditional way of eating. We normally like a dipping sauce or something like that. So I did do a dipping sauce, you know, and that's for the parsnip and the carrots. I'm just going to set that kind of nicely on the plate. This is a very, very full meal. So if you can kind of see that, it's kind of ridiculous. I might put this on my menu, actually. That's my problem. I want to put everything on the menu. But so made a dipping sauce. Again, it can be anything from a vegan aioli to, you know, like I said, Vegan A's, Just Mayo is a great brand as well. And so just to dip your parsnips and your carrots in, just for more of an experience. And if you're offering this like to a child or thing, you know, something like that, they like dipping sauces and they want to feel like they're having kind of a normal, traditional experience, and they would be able to kind of get that, you know, kind of, you know, with this dish. So my thing is that when I used to cook, you know, for my son's friends, I just really wouldn't tell them that it was vegan, because then they would like flip out. I just fed it to them. They ate it up. And then I would tell their parents, when their parents came to come and get them, I would tell their parents that that they were eating vegan food. So they were like, really? You know? So anyway, that's that. That's the sandwich. It's very hearty, very rich in flavor. I wish you guys can taste it right now. Very rich in flavor, very hearty, and simple. It's pretty quick, probably maybe 10 minutes, And that's really just kind of with the sauteing. I'm really into showing people, because I think that a lot of vegan recipes are maybe just kind of, you know, there's ingredients and unfamiliar ingredients, and maybe ingredients that are a little bit more challenging to access. So I like to kind of present a simple approach, fresh, hearty ingredients, hearty, delicious dish, just with simple ingredients all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know, maybe about 6 ingredients on this plate, you know, including the lettuce and tomato. So, you know, with that being said, that's all I got. That's all I got for you guys this morning.
Okay, I was just about to send a note. I was going to say, please feel free to put questions in the chat or raise your hands, and I'll recognize them. The dish looks fantastic. I just want to I guess I'll take privilege of the first question. Is, you said prep time was about 10 minutes. Can you walk through that a little bit? Like how long, you know, once you have everything together, you know, what would you do first, and kind of what's the sequence of events that you did to put that together?
Definitely. I usually just go ahead and put my onions on first to saute those onions, because I'll be adding the mushrooms to those onions. Like I said, maybe the oyster mushrooms, you know, dropped in a hot skillet. It's probably going to take about, you know, 3 minutes. I think altogether, including the prep, it was probably about 10 minutes. This particular cheese melts really, really well and pretty quickly. Again, the tip of kind of presenting space or creating space in between, you know, your whole dish, so that the heat can kind of generate evenly throughout the dish, making sure that the cheese melts faster. But the parsnips, you know, are pretty, you know, simple. You get the parsnip, you wash it, you cut it. Like I said, kind of quarter pieces are my taste. You know, put it in your, you know, your preheated oil. The carrots and the parsnip take about the same time to cook. And then the aioli is just something you whip up, salt, pepper, you know, garlic powder, and then maybe even a little bit of mustard. Mustard creates a lot of flavor. Yeah, so, you know, outside of that, just kind of chopping up your tomatoes, or slicing your tomatoes rather, washing your lettuce. You know, this dish can definitely be created in about 10 minutes.
Okay, and I see we have a question in the chat from Dorothy. What are the ingredients in vegan cheese, and what are the benefits?
Yeah, so I mean, the vegan cheese you can use, I mean, diets specifically use, so here, that's a great question. So tapioca flour is a great ingredient to use in cheese if you're making your own cheese, right? because it does create that kind of stretchy texture. So Daya does use tapioca flour. That's one of the main ingredients that they use, but you can actually make cheese out of cashews. You can make cheese out of carrots. You know, it's about kind of what you add to it that's going to create that flavor. People have made cheese out of potato, you know, kind of boiling the potato, mashing it up, kind of thinning it out, maybe, you know, with some soy milk. Almost all cheeses add nutritional yeast, because nutritional yeast it does have kind of like a cheddary flavor. So for me, I'm a popcorn lover. And so when I feel like having kind of like a cheddary popcorn, I make my popcorn and then I add nutritional yeast to it, and it literally gives you like a cheddar, like you're feeling like you're eating cheddar popcorn.
I guess I had one other question. So the ingredients you use today, are they normal like Safeway type ingredients, or do you have to go to Whole Foods, or is there some sort of like specialty place you have to go, or is this pretty common things you can pick up everywhere?
Yeah, and I think that that's really what I tried to focus on, was ingredients that you can really get from any store. Yes, you can get all these ingredients from Safeway. You can get it from Albertsons, Safeway, of course, Whole Foods. You know, they're going to have the oyster mushrooms, but Safeway and Albertsons, yeah, just a normal grocery store, they're going to have all of these ingredients.
Okay, I see another question in the chat. Is this sandwich considered a complete protein?
Very good. So actually, the oyster mushrooms actually are pretty high in protein. So when you're looking for protein, and I know that that's one of the things that that people kind of shy away, or you know, kind of a discouraging factor, is where do I get my protein? The oyster mushrooms are actually pretty, pretty well equipped with protein, as is the parsnips. The parsnips have less protein, but they do have protein. So I would kind of have to do the math on how much protein this dish has, but oyster mushrooms definitely come with a lot of protein.
Any other questions out there? Or is everyone hungry now? Okay. So another question in the chat. Dude, you use vegan butter on the bread?
No, so what I did was I actually used an olive oil on the bread, but again, you can also use a grapeseed oil. That's what I did. You can use, so here's the thing. You can use vegan butter. It's delicious. It adds a lot of flavor. You can also use a vegan mayo to toast, because vegan mayo normally has oil in it. So you can actually spread some vegan mayo on your bread and, you know, put it in your pan to toast it as well. And the vegan mayo makes the bread a little bit more soft than an oil would, but it's really delicious actually.
Okay, we have a comment on your restaurant. Souley Vegan is literally my go-to for impressing out-of-town family and friends. My friends from abroad loved the pork chop. When my mother was battling breast cancer, this was the only restaurant we got takeout from because we were fighting from within. Thank you so much for this segment. So that's just a comment in the chat section for you.
I love that, and I appreciate that. I appreciate, you know, you sharing so much. I think that when I originally kind of opened Souley Vegan, my thought was to share this part of myself. And so it was the people that let me know what Souley Vegan was to them. It was the people that took the time to give me that kind of feedback or share with me their feelings. And those stories over the years have just been amazing. And I'm one that, you know, when I'm invited to speak or, you know, somewhere, I let those people inviting me know that, you know, cool, yes, I can totally talk about veganism. I've been cooking vegan since I was, you know, really cooking since I was 18. I can make anything. I can create, you know, anything. It's tofu. I make sweet pies. I make savory pies. I can do, but I love to kind of address the, you know, the factor of health and wellness being the whole individual. So you're talking about your spiritual values. Now you're talking about mental. Now you're talking about, you know, physical diseases, ailments, things like that. And mental health is something that's really huge to me. I'm very passionate about that. And I understand that the food that you consume does directly affect kind of your train of thought. So it's very important to have a clean diet, but it's also very important to make sure that you're addressing the other wellness factors that kind of encompasses us as human beings.
Thank you. And we have another question in the chat. Tell us a little bit about the concept of Souley vegan and how that, how that idea came to you and how you decided to go in that direction.
Yeah, thank you. So Souley vegan was a thought long before, it materialized. I dreamt of a place that, that had, vegan sweets, a number of different vegan sweets, that people felt so comfortable that they would come and they would sit, for a while and play cards. And that's exactly what happened. I was thinking of a name for the restaurant because, again, this is while I was still in the medical field, but I knew that I was going to do it. I'm sure my mom got tired of me talking about it, because I talked about it for years and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I said, this is what I'm going to do. But Souley vegan, I guess, kind of encompasses two things, right? Souley being only vegan, and then Souley vegan is kind of a love child, so to speak. Souley vegan is a version of myself, an extension of myself. So that's where the soul comes in. It wasn't necessarily for soul food, but it was for spirit. I'm huge on kind of vibration, and it was really a part of me that I wanted to share with the world. So Souley vegan, that name reflects the reason kind of why I wanted to, open it, and the reason why I fought so much to keep it, and also the reason why I've fought so hard to expand it.
Excellent. And while you were talking, I had a question about a comment you made about people not doing what they're used to. And out of all the dishes in your restaurant, what would you say is the best kind of introductory dish for omnivores who are used to texture and sort of the meat tastes a certain way? Like, what would, if I were to bring someone to your restaurant and said, you should try this, and it would be the closest thing to what they're used to?
Yeah, I think that there's so many things, but it's a great question. And then it depends on kind of, are they a texture person? Because some people, like my mom, is like very particular about, texture. So I would say one off top, hands down, would be the Pray For Me burger. It is like a meat patty. We make all the recipes are my own. Everything is made from scratch. So we don't use any outside meats or whatever. And so, I've had people come in and, so many people, so many dishes from across the board. But if I were to recommend something to a stone cold omnivore, which my brother is a stone cold omnivore, and he loves, he comes in, he loves the mac and cheese, and he has his things that he gets. But definitely the Pray For Me burger. My favorite dish, it's kind of a toss up between the country steak plate. And so we make that out of seitan, which is extremely high in protein. Actually, if you compare it to an actual steak, it's actually higher in protein. And then, the way it's prepared is prepared in kind of such a way, considering your digestive system, to make sure that you're able to, your body's able to properly kind of break everything down. So that's another thing I focus on kind of, with my recipes. We're only using fresh ingredients, but definitely the country steak plate is my personal favorite. The Ain't Gator Bites, if you're looking for an appetizer, you dip it in the vegan swamp sauce, and that's just, the dish is just like insanely flavorful. And then also that incorporates baby portobello mushrooms, and then also a vegan meat that I create as well. So the Gator Bites, Pray For Me burger, the steak plate, which comes with mashed potatoes and collard greens, is dangerously delicious.
I'm finding myself, I didn't get lunch yet. I'm finding myself getting hungry. Any other questions? I know we've got a lot of people listening. Probably everyone's feeling hungry themselves.
I love to talk.
And if you're in the admin building, it's right down the street on 3rd and Broadway. Are you open to, you're open today?
We're closed on Mondays. That's the day that spices and, you know, kind of get geared up for the week. So we're closed on Monday as of right now. We're resystematizing kind of the business because now we have multiple locations. So yeah, so we're restructuring that, and eventually I will open up on Mondays as well. But historically speaking, in the almost 13 years that we've been open, we close on Monday. That's the day that we, first of all, we deep clean on Monday, but we also mix our own spices and things like that and kind of get geared up for the week. So
talk about your to go. That was mentioned. Does everything travel, or some things travel better than others?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, you know, my Southern fried tofu, right? And that's like, you know, the first kind of fried thing that I put on my menu. You know, I was concerned about that in the beginning, but again, it's kind of the feedback, you know, from the customers that let me know our food travels really, really well. Now, it may not be as hot, but the texture is still going to be there.
So if you had just a few minutes, talk a little bit about your Food Network experience and like how did that come to pass, and you know beating Bobby Flay. So you were the first chef on that show to actually, the judges pick your dish over Bobby Flay. So tell us a little bit about that experience.
I mean, what can I say? Absolutely amazing. We actually been on the Food Network twice before. First, it was Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives in 2016. Then Triple D Nation, also Guy Fieri, came back to us in 2020, I believe it was, the end of 2020. And then, of course, the Beat Bobby Flay in 2021. So, or it aired in 2000. Where are we? We're in 22. Lord have mercy, God. But it aired just January 2022, but we filmed in 21. But, you know, and actually I'm the first vegan chef to beat Bobby Flay. There have been chefs that have beat him in the past, but it very rarely happens. But in terms of a vegan chef, I am the first vegan chef that beat Bobby Flay. And okay, so if I could share something with you guys. So basically the interview process is pretty extensive before they actually choose you to be on the show. And so when I got the call, I was like, okay, you know, I was like, okay, good, you know, because I hadn't got selected yet. I was like, okay, so this is cool. They're calling me, right? I go through the interview process. They say that, okay, we have these dates, this window of time. We like to try to work with your schedule. You know, which one of these dates would be best for you? So of course, for me, because I have so much going on, I tried to pick the latter of the dates, giving that would have allowed me time, at least like 2 to 3 weeks, to prepare mentally more than anything else. And so she calls me back and she says, Tamearra, I know you want this date, but we really think that you'd be great for this episode, which that episode was going to film in like 3 days. So I was like, okay. Now, when I talk about kind of, you know, the mental aspect of a person, right? You know, I had to kind of prepare myself because initially, honestly, I thought about turning it down. I had reason to do that. And I had logical reasons to do that in terms of kind of, you know, how much is going on with Souley Vegan and my responsibilities with that. And did I have time to carve out for them to fly me to New York, film, which would have been a total of like a 3-day process, including my travel back. And so I thought about not doing it. But then I said, actually, it was my son that said, he says, okay, Mom, he says, all right, well, all that sounds valid. You know, if you have all this stuff going on with Souley Vegan and you really don't have the time, then, you know, then you won't do it. He said, but if you're doing it because you have any doubt or fear, then he said, then you better do it, right? So I thought about myself, and I always go in the direction of my fears. And I had thoughts in my head. I said, you know, how am I going to do? I'm going to be cooking in front of the world. You know, am I going to freeze up? You know, this is my very first competition ever. And my very first competition is on the Beat Bobby Flay show. So that was pretty heavy. But I said, okay, yeah, there is a little bit of fear in my heart. So that means I have to go. And I said, okay, God, we're going. And I was going to win. You know, in my mind, I said, once I made up my mind that I was going, I said, I'm going to win. I'm not going to just compete. I'm going there to win. And it was just kind of an emotional roller coaster. They flew me in. So I was there late that first evening, then filming first thing in the morning the next day. And just kind of feelings of, you know, what's going to be the secret ingredient? You know, who is this first chef going to be? You know, so many questions in my head because it was so much of the unknown. But it was an emotional roller coaster. But oh my God, it was so amazing to be in his space, to not only compete against him, but then to beat him. I mean, words cannot describe the way that I felt. Words cannot describe that I was so grateful that I kind of stuck to the person that I am, which is that person that fights for what they want. And Bobby was great. He was very humble. Whoever saw the show, he actually took off his apron and put his apron on me after I won, and it was a unanimous vote, by the way. All three judges voted for me, and he took his apron off and he kind of crowned me with his apron. That is historic too. He's never done that in the 30 years that the show has been on. So I mean, everything was just overwhelmingly just exciting, and I was just so grateful.
Definitely, congratulations on that. That's fantastic. In the time that we have left, listening to you, it sounds like every dish there's a vegan version of a lot of dishes that can be done, but people just don't know how or what they would substitute. So if you could drop like 4 or 5 kind of go-to things where this is where you would do a typical dish, but here's how you would do it like in a vegan way. Is there some sort of keys that people can use?
Yeah, I think that just kind of experimenting with herbs and spices is huge, right? I think that a go-to is jackfruit is something that's a go-to ingredient that has a lot of texture. I don't use it much myself, but I know that it has a lot of texture, and not a lot of flavor, which is great because then you can marinate it, you can make it into what you want. Tofu is also a great base ingredient. Tofu can be very soft or it can be extremely firm. Like I said, the oyster mushroom is a great kind of cheat ingredient. If you're looking for an appetizer, you can simply, you can batter it and fry it up, and then the same way that you would do like a chicken or something like that, you can pretty much take these ingredients and use this as your base ingredient as opposed to using actually, meat. Go-to as well is the vital wheat gluten, which makes seitan, and that's a go-to as well. I would suggest when using that, kind of maybe use less of that, use it more as kind of like a binding component if you're really looking for texture, and incorporate your vegetables in that, as well. Brown rice flour is a great binding component as well if you're making like a black bean burger or something like that. And there are many references, as to kind of what binding components you can use. If you're baking a cake, bananas are binding components. You don't have to use egg. Applesauce makes it, a little bit more moist. So, and then they have something called egg replacer that actually works great as an egg replacer. One that kind of gravitates more towards kind of the natural produce ingredients that I have on the shelf as opposed to using something pre-made, but it is a go-to. So those are a couple key ingredients, I would say. Overall, like if you're making like a stew, if you're making lentils, if you're making black eyed peas, if you're making red beans, get some fresh basil, maybe get some thyme, get some rosemary, chop those things up, put them in there. You'd be surprised how much flavor are going to come out of those herbs, and definitely obviously spices, kind of playing with spices to see what your palate loves the most. And don't be fooled if you're in the produce and you taste basil, it's not going to be delicious. Cilantro, I love the flavor of cilantro. That's another herb that I love to use. But when you cook them, when you incorporate them in your dish, then you're going to get all those flavors that come out. And it's really going to add a lot to your dish.
Super. So while you were talking, I didn't check. Do you have a cookbook or do you have plans for a cookbook?
Yeah. We have, we're going over some, some intellectual property stuff or whatever, I want to make sure that I do it the right way and that I own everything. So with that being said, yeah, we do have something coming out.
Well, we'll definitely, let us know when the cookbook arrives so we can pick up some, because this sounds good.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions or comments they'd like to make or put in the chat? I know we've got quite a few people listening in.
That's great. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
There are two additional comments in the chat.
A question from Elliot. Do you have any plans to mentor people or like have a little junior chef academy or something?
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When it comes to mentoring and just kind of sharing of myself in that way, which I believe is more so kind of up and coming, I'll be able to do more of that. But yeah, I actually partner with Sprouts Chef and Training. So I do mentor young girls. And then over the years, I mentor young girls and I just kind of take them under my wing, those that want to be not only chefs, but also entrepreneurs. But yeah, that is something that I have every intention on doing. Obviously, it would start in Oakland, but we're kind of building out, kind of what that would look like. But yeah, I have to do it. My family, my mother, we moved around quite a bit, primarily in Oakland, right there on Sycamore in West Oakland is where we primarily live. But, Hayward, Berkeley as well. But it's definitely my responsibility to mentor the young kids, not even just young girls. But I think that young girls can kind of see themselves in me a little bit more. They're walking the same streets that I walked when I was, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, it's absolutely my duty and I plan to fulfill that.
Okay, next question. Are you a fan of using burro bananas as a French fry replacement? Would Souley Vegan offer this as an option in the future?
Burro bananas? Are we talking about pain or?
I'm not sure. Desiree?
No, not a plantain. It's just like those burro bananas that are kind of short and fat, for lack of a better description.
Yeah. For sure. That's a great question. So now I'll have to go and experiment with that. I'm not sure. I'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another just comment. Tamearra, super proud of you and all your accomplishments with Souley Vegan. That's from Ken.
Thank you.
Any other food questions or any sort of tips that anyone would like?
But
Chef, I'm sorry.
If I can just respond to Ken as well, I can say that, thank you so much for saying that. And I can say that, when people ask me, how the community has responded, how the Black community has responded, I've had so many people come in over the years that just told me that they were proud, and it goes a long way. So I appreciate you saying that, Ken.
I can just, when my cousin and his wife from Maryland came out, you were one of their sort of go-to destination places. So
wonderful. Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other comment? Let me see. How did you adjust to the pandemic? Many of the Oakland restaurants had to close, and how were you able to weather that storm?
I was scared to death initially, because our business is dine-in. So then how do we go to kind of a solely takeout model? I worked very hard to take care of my mother. We come from I'll just say humble beginnings. And one of my goals as a young girl was to be able to take care of my mother. And I had gotten to the point where I could do that. And then COVID hit and everything was kind of taken away overnight. So I was scared. I cried a lot. I cried every single day, thinking about not only my family, but my staff's family, people that depend on their checks. They take care of their children. They take care of their mothers. So it was a lot of weight on my shoulders kind of to figure this thing out. And actually COVID is what really made me expand. I was going in another direction in the food service industry prior to COVID. Then COVID hit. I had invested my money in something else. again, all within the food, industry. And so I said, okay, I was scared for Souley Vegan. I know what Souley Vegan could be. I know that I know my initial vision and what that vision still is. I know that Souley Vegan needs to be a national and international brand, where people come to enjoy the same experience that they do in Oakland. So I got scared. So that's what made me expand. That's what COVID made. COVID made me expand because I'm a fighter, and I don't like to use the word fight necessarily, but I fight for what I love and what I have a passion for, and Souley Vegan is definitely that. So after what happened was that what allowed me to kind of calm down after that initial blow, was I just said, hold on, Tamearra, think about it. This is how you started, essentially. You didn't have any money in the register. You started from the ground up. The money that you made that day, you went to the produce market the next day and you built it from there. So now COVID then presented a similar situation. And so I said, okay, I remember this, let me remember who I am and who God is. I'm not a religious person, but that's just what it is. And then I was able to calm down. Once I was able to calm myself down, ideas started coming. And that's how I explored the
Okay, there was a question I missed. Have you had experience adopting your recipes for any diet such as keto or paleo?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that there are so many different diets out there. I know I don't. I know that there are, I guess the keto diet is high in protein. There are many things that are on my menu that are high in protein. What I am doing though is dissecting all the recipes, working with a nutritionalist, so that those who are on certain diets can come into the restaurant. They know what they need in terms of carb, protein, etc., and then they can make those decisions for themselves.
Very good. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions?
These are great.
Trying to see in the chat. Going down. No, I don't think. Risha, is everyone registered? Do we have the wheel set up?
The wheel is set up, and I want to see if I'll be able to share my screen today. Teams has not been kind to me. I want to take the opportunity to say thank you, because you are running 4 different locations, and you took the time out on your Monday when you're preparing your business for the rest of the week to come and be with East Bay Mud. And on behalf of our employees and on behalf of our Black Employee Network, Barry said it before, but I'll say it again. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. And thank you for being humble. And you walk in the streets of my neighborhood. My children walk those streets. You said Sycamore, you're talking McClimas, you're talking Deep West Oakland. So you probably know some of my, yes, I know what you're talking about. And so, and you still have young people walking those streets with dreams and telling their mothers and their fathers, I'm going to do this. And you're right here.
That's
and
right.
so thank you for being willing to give back. And being willing to give back. And thank you for, I put in the chat and then I erased it, but can you just show the sandwich again?
Yeah.
I want to know, how is she letting that sandwich sit there so long without taking
Right.
That's what I want to know.
Is this going to be over soon? Look, I got my knife and my fork ready, okay? But yeah, so let me just, and I'm going to lift it up so you can really kind of see it inside as well. Just kind of those, the oyster mushrooms are so beautiful.
I can't see it. If you can, it has to be like up to face level. There you go. There it is.
Good. Thank you for telling.
Yes.
And, and I'm a kind of, presentation means everything as well. So you have the, the parsnips and the carrots and, and the aioli. And then, like I said, are we still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Or the sandwich rather just sits so nice. It's just,
oh yeah.
Sandwich and want that sandwich, vegan or not. So, that's what we do here. And I might put this on the menu. This thing is good.
It looks good. And I'm a cheese lover, and somebody is like, you can't do cheese. And it's like, no, I need cheese. So yeah, that cheese looked delicious.
Yeah, that cheese tip was one of the best of the day, because you have this paradigm about cheese and what it should be and what it is and what it isn't. So that was helpful.
I find that in my conversations with people, I think one of the major, actually the major thing, the major reason that a lot of people say that they can't go vegan is the cheese. They're like, I can't give up my cheese and I can't give up my ice cream. So now there's great vegan ice creams out there too. Tofutti is a great brand that's been around a long time. Just explore, you know, figure out what you like. Not everybody's going to like the same thing. You're looking for texture and flavor, obviously, but you know, just kind of explore and see what you like. There's so many things to offer out there. And this is kind of the oyster mushroom after it's been sauteed. I just love it. It's so, you know, it's such a pretty, such a pretty veggie. And like I said, a lot of texture, packs a lot of flavor. Yeah, just kind of have fun with it. You know, it's not as hard as, you know, some may make it out to be.
Wonderful.
Okay. All right.
Maybe you can name the sandwich after us at East Bay Mud when you put it on the
right. Yeah. Oh, and I'd also like to say, so my auntie, Rosanna Williams, worked for East Bay Mud for over 40 years.
Rosanna Williams is on this screen right now.
She is my auntie.
Yes, she is. Your aunt. Let me see if she was there. Rosanna is there.
My auntie.
Hold on. Auntie Rosanna is there. Auntie Rosanna, you have to put you on the screen. There she is. Look.
Mom is gonna flip out. Oh
yes.
How cool.
Wow.
Yes, she is there. Yes. Small world. We love Rosanna.
Now that's something else.
Look at that. What a treat. Oh man, love you, Auntie Dini.
Oh, and she has a nickname too.
Yeah, that's so special.
Awesome. Yes, we do. We love Rosanna. Look, the staff in HR, Rosanna works in HR. The staff is like, yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is awesome. This is an awesome way to close out our month.
That's wonderful.
So look, if you work with my Dini, I'm her niece, and she was always very serious business. Okay, you don't. That's a real.
Rosanna is real business. She still is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we know. So that's how she's with us too.
Yes. She's up there blushing. Look at I know she's over there blushing.
I love you, Auntie Dini. Wow, my mom is gonna flip out. Wow.
Awesome. Yep, she's still here.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So Risha, let's get this wheel turner so we can give two lucky people their gift certificates. They can go sample some of this food.
Yes. All right. So you see the screen?
Oh,
Yep.
Yes, we do. If
All
I
right.
win, I'm not giving it back this time.
Elliot, you know what? So sorry. Your name has been taken off as a facilitator. Already removed you and Barry's name. So you are not in the running. So I'm going to click for spin.
That is quite
I'll
okay.
take you to lunch. I'll take you to lunch, Elliot.
Money at the restaurant.
Steve Curry.
All right.
All right. And we're going to do two gift certificates for Souley Vegan, and then we'll do a third for one of the gifts that we have.
Hey, Tamearra, how often are you in the restaurant?
Okay, Andrea Miller.
Yeah, I'm there from time to time. I'll be there really almost this whole week, but I do travel a lot back and forth between the locations.
Okay. And one more, Barry, you have those names, right?
We've got Steve. Well, Steve already said thank you, so it won't be hard. So we got Steve Curry and Andrea are going to be guests at Souley Vegan in Oakland soon, I'm sure.
And this is a third. Yeah, this is a third one for one of the prizes that we have in our inventory.
Marcella.
All right, Florence.
Her name.
Okay. With that.
Wow.
That's it, Barry.
So with that, any sort of parting thoughts, Chef Dyson?
You know, I'm very happy that you all invited me. It was such a treat to see my Auntie Dini. I love her so much. I'm gonna try not to cry.
Oh.
That just makes us family. That's all.
Yeah, that's family. So, you know, Oakland obviously is a huge part of my life. So I'm happy, to, be able to share with my community, in this way. It means a lot to me. And, even having my Auntie Dini here. Are you proud of me, Auntie Dini?
Oh,
Rosanna, you've got to say something for us.
you sure do, Rosanna. Look,
You
she's
have to
probably
say
over there crying too.
No, listen, my Auntie Dini don't play. She does what she wants to do, and she don't do what she doesn't want to do. So, we all understand each other. But and Dini knows, a lot of family, history. I'm just so grateful to, share with you guys. I'm so grateful that my Auntie Dini was able to see me in this way. And yeah, and if you come to the restaurant, and when you guys come to the restaurant, ask for me. Let them, let whoever you're asking, let them know that you're, from East Bay Mud, and I'll definitely come out. I might be in the kitchen, or I might be in the back working, who knows? But if I'm there, I definitely would love to meet you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
trying to be there tomorrow, FYI.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I know there's a coworker that's in this meeting. I think we're going to change our plans. He might be upset, but we're going to change our plans, and we're coming tomorrow.
I love it.
And one of the things I'd like to do is I'd like to get you on our vendor list for different events we do. So
yes, that's important.
We cater events. So definitely.
Yeah, we would love.
What time do you look? I'm at this all business. What time do you open for business?
We open at 11 and we close at 9, and we're open all day. We don't have any, midday closures or whatever. So we're open from 11 to 9.
Okay.
To Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see you at 11:33.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was wonderful.
Yes,
Thank
it
you.
was.
I'm a product of, my Auntie Dini. My strength comes from my family, and I have strong women in my family. So I just, I wanted to share that. Absolutely.
Beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. We love Auntie Dini. Rosanna, we won't call you that after this meeting, Rosanna. But today, Auntie Dini, we love you. We love Rosanna. Yes. And this was beautiful. This was this was what we knew. I've eaten there before, know that the food is good, but just you made this whole event beautiful. Sandwich looks beautiful, but you made this entire event beautiful. And to see, we've been learning this whole month about young people doing fabulous things. And just to see you doing your thing, you are inspiring to us and to anybody who's on screen who's young and have dreams outside of what they thought they were going to do. You said you were in the medical field, and look, you food for medicine. You're using food for medicine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everyone, have a great afternoon, and we can't wait to have another celebration next year.
Kid! Oh my
God! She knows someone else.
Oh yeah, yes, there are people on. Oh, she can't see the list. So everybody, you know what? If you can, show yourself on the screen.
Oh, I love it. Kim was at Cash and Carry. We built a long relationship. Cash and Carry, great guy, great, and so happy to see you there.
Yeah, I'm so proud to see you and all your accomplishments. That was me on the chat, so I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Look at that.
Oh, Chef, your auntie said very proud of you, Tammy.
That's the family name for me. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Barry, I'll let you close out since you facilitated.
I'm just going to say thanks a lot for everybody that participated all month long. It was a wonderful month. It was informative, and this was a great finale. Chef Dyson, I'm going to call you Chef Dyson, not Tammy.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. It was excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again at your restaurant, and we're looking forward to the cookbook and supporting you in any way we can. So Thank you for your time, and everyone have a great afternoon, and eat healthier and try vegan.
I will try it tomorrow. I promise.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Bye. Thanks again.
Okay.
All right.
What a way to end our Black History Month.
Awesome, y'all. One love.
Thanks, Joey.